Hi everyone, my name is Gayatri and I'm really happy to talk to you about my mental health recovery rather than saying mental health illness. It takes a lot for me to come out and talk about this because I never really have talked about it to anyone apart from my family and my counselor. So the story goes that I was diagnosed of clinical depression back in 2018, and this happened on a day when one of my role models committed suicide, Anthony Bourdain. On the day he committed suicide, I was actually traveling to Bombay for my brother's wedding, and I was shocked in the airplane as I found out that the person I looked up to the most had clinical depression. And that's when it hit me. It was probably just an intuitive hit that it came to me that it might, that I do too. I may have clinical depression as well. And it wasn't an out of the blue realization. It was, I knew about it kind of since the previous 2 years that I could have some mental health problem, but I never really acknowledged it. I think I was too scared to acknowledge it. But on that day when Anthony Bourdain killed himself, I decided to go to a counselor. And as chance would have it, I was in Bombay and I met with the counselor and I was diagnosed of clinical depression. And not only that, when she heard my story, she told me that there could be a chance that there's been at least a history of 5 years of depression. So this just hit me because it came to me so strongly and so suddenly also. Actually, I don't know what it was that really hit me, but it hit me very, very badly. She also said, my counselor, that I would need medication, and I was put on the medication. She met with my family and they shared their experiences and feelings about my life. Just that feeling, that knowing that I have clinical depression, when it came from a professional, I could not handle it. And my first instant feeling was shame. I felt ashamed. I felt that I'd let my family down. I felt I'd let my parents down. And I felt that I just wasn't good enough because, nothing good happens in my life. So I was basically mentally just going downhill. And my thought process at this point was that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough that anybody will want to be with me. I'm not good enough that I will be successful in my life. I'm just not good enough. The year before that, I'd gone through a divorce, which changed my life. Although getting divorced was my choice, but the aftermath of that was killing because we live in a small town, no matter how modern we pretend to be, let's accept that. While nobody said anything to me per se about the divorce, I could see it in their eyes. And sometimes I feel that I think if you're a depressed person, something about that depression makes you very observant about people's reactions to you. You're very sensitive about that. So nobody really said anything to me about my divorce, but I could see it in their eyes. I could see it in their body language. I could see pity in their eyes. And I hated it because that made me feel even worse. I remember that when I just decided to be separated, I came back to my parents' house, which is my house. I received a phone call from a very well-renowned socialite asking me that she wants to order some food because I cook for a living. She asked me where she should pick it up from. And this is a person who is not even my customer or anything. And just the way she asked me, Gayatri, where should I pick up the cake from? Just the way she said it, I will never forget it. And of course, I'm not going to name the person, but I will just never forget that because she wanted to know whether she would pick it up from my husband's house or my father's house. these are such instances that probably just added to the depression. And what I did was that I completely shut down. I locked myself in the room, and all I did was lie down. And there would be times I was not able to get up from my bed. There would be times I was not able to speak. And if anybody, even my parents, would come to help me, to talk to me, or even just touch me, to hug me, I would jump. And I would feel very guilty at my own reactions. The biggest battle that has been was to fight my own self. And I still fight that battle. So coming back to the doctor, when she did give me medication, I resisted it, but then of course I had no choice. So I took the medication, and that night I faked it completely because there was a wedding party, and I could fake the depression very well. Which of course just kept adding to the guilt. So anyway, the medication did go on, and one of the results of the medication was a lot of weight gain. And that again just kept adding to the whole, shame that, okay, now not only am I depressed and divorced, I'm also fat. And my work was still at a pace where it had just started to pick up, so it was not where I really wanted it to be. So basically in all departments, I was not doing well, and that was killing me in every way, shape or form. The medication kept going on for about 6 months, and until I hit a point where, I talked to my counselor that I don't need any medication, and she actually weaned me off it. So now it's been about 1.5 years that I've been off medication. I don't know if I will ever say that I'm off depression, but I do have the mild phase here and there. It's not half as bad, but I do have the mild phase. The reason I'm sharing this story is because one, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I am not ashamed anymore. I'm not ashamed that I had depression. I'm not ashamed that I struggled with it. And I'm not ashamed of anything that's happened in my life, because this is me. And if I can accept myself, I'm sure others can too. And if they don't, that's just too bad. If any one of you has a mental health illness, or even if it's just a slight mental health problem, which may not even be an illness, seek help from wherever you can, whether you can get a counselor or a parent or a sibling or a friend, whatever you can, wherever you can, get help. Because my mistake was that I was ashamed of it. Please don't make that mistake. Don't be ashamed, because I think if I wasn't ashamed, I would have come out of it much sooner. So don't waste that time, because I think you deserve better. Thank you.